Hello and welcome to another edition of Coffee Talk with immigration attorney Brian D. Lerner. In this set of videos we're learning about E-1 and E-2 visas. In this one I'd like to concentrate on what exactly are the requirements, the basic requirements for an E-2 visa. Now an E-2, remember, is referred to as a treaty investor visa. Now the nationality of the investment enterprise must be 50% of at least the person from the foreign country. Now, the investment itself is very important when dealing with an E2. Unlike an E1 that deals with trade, an E2 deals with investment. So the funds have to be in the employer's possession or control. The funds must be at risk, meaning that, for example, an unsecured loan or collateral for a loan, they must be from personal assets, not from the corporation or company you're going to make, because then if it doesn't go through, there's no consequence to you. So it needs to be at risk. The capital must be subjected to partial or total loss if the investment fortunes reverse. Okay, so you can't have a company that where if everything loses, you still have all your money, because then it's not a real investment. It must be the investor's unsecured personal business capital or capital secured by personal assets. Basically, the regulations on E2s really want to make sure that this money that you're investing is a real investment. You would tend to work harder and make it succeed with more effort if it's a real investment. Now, for example, a second mortgage on a home, unsecured or unencumbered loans or assets and loans on the person's personal signature, those are acceptable forms of investment. Okay. Now, inheriting a business is not an investment. So if your mom or dad gave you a $100,000 business to run, fortunately that's not going to qualify for an E2. Now, there's a way around that. You can use funds which you inherited to make an investment for a successful E2. All right. Now, the E2 statutes do not require that the source of funds be outside the United States. You do, of course, have to show that they are from a legal source and so forth, but they don't necessarily need to be residing outside the U.S. The money doesn't when you invest. Now, people a lot of times ask me when they come in, they go, well, what if I invest in all this business and it turns out it's denied? Let me just tell the immigration what I'm going to do, and that should be sufficient. Well, in actuality, it's not. Prospective plans for a company are insufficient, because the reality is immigration won't believe you're really going to invest once you come in. So uncommitted funds in a bank account are insufficient. Now keep in mind, though, that a reasonable amount of cash held in a business bank account to be used for routine operations may be counted as investment funds. Now, the applicant or you have the burden of showing an irrevocable commitment of the funds to the enterprise. Now, one way around having to actually invest and then, if everything is denied, not being able to get your money back, is you can escrow the funds. So you can place the funds in an escrow pending approval of the E-classification. Now, the legal mechanism you need to use has to show that the funds are irrevocably committed, so that if it's approved, it absolutely goes to the company you're buying. If it's denied, then it absolutely comes back to you. So that's how that would work. Now, as far as as the funds themselves, they cannot be obtained directly or indirectly through criminal activity. That's why you have to show the funds were obtained legally. So, if it's a bunch of jug money, you're not going to be able to do an E2 investment. Okay. Now, the valuation of the investment, you have to look at various things. You look at rent paid on equipment or property, that's an investment. But it's the funds devoted to any item in a particular month unless the rent is paid in advance. Transfer of goods and machinery, as long as it is demonstrated that it will be put in good use for the enterprise. The funds themselves and the amount of the funds are very important in determining the qualification of an E-2.